Hey moms and dads, this video might make you a little mad, a little frustrated if you've been the one up all night with a crying baby who's colicky, who's constipated, who's refluxy, and you've been told by your doctor, your pediatrician, don't worry, they'll grow out of it. Maybe you have the kiddo that's had ear infection after ear infection, croup after croup, maybe it's strep after strep, and you've been told, their eustachian tubes are a little funky right now, but don't worry, they'll grow out of it. Maybe you've got that toddler who's doing what you feel are some pretty intense, terrible twos, tantrums, meltdowns at the restaurant, at the grocery store, in the middle of Target, and you've been wondering, is there more to it? Maybe your kiddo isn't sleeping or hitting their milestones. Maybe they're not developing as you think they should be, and you've been told they'll grow out of it, but your mom gut or your dad heart says, I feel there's something more to it. You see, there's this neurology that is in common amongst these situations. There's a group of pediatric chiropractors that I train with. We call it the perfect storm because it's this series of events where this stress, if it keeps building, can turn into something else. And yes, while they might outgrow their colic, they might outgrow their ear infections, they might outgrow their meltdowns, what do they grow into? Because under the surface, if this stress stays stuck on inside the body, that pattern of stress that we see early on is the same pattern of stress that we see in the sensory kiddo, or in the kiddo who starts to have speech delays, or didn't roll, didn't crawl the way you thought they were going to, and now they're having a tough time with their milestones. We see this same pattern of stress stuck on in the kiddo with ADHD or an autism diagnosis, or going even further into the depressed or anxious teenager. And what they have in common is this state of stress that gets stuck on inside the body. And their body is trying to tell you about it. That's where the symptoms come up, where these things come to the surface, and you might have been given a diagnosis, yep, it's reflux, take this. Or, don't worry, it's colic, they'll outgrow it. And you have a diagnosis, you have a label, but you've never been told what's under the surface of that. What's going on inside their neurology and their nervous system that is causing that stress. It's the sympathetic state, the fight-flight state, to stay stuck on. And the challenge is, if that stress stays stuck on, you might have a child moving from one thing to another. So yes, the label changes, the diagnosis change, but they never outgrow that underlying concern. When my son was born, he had pretty intense labor and delivery, more intense than we were hoping for. And he was a lot more colicky, had more reflux, a lot harder to console than I anticipated as a new dad, especially one who works with kids. And it took a lot to get him going and get him out of that stress state. But I remember one time early on, and I was holding him, and I could feel this tension in his body, and he was lifting away from me. He didn't want to settle into me, and he felt like he was just revved up, go, go, go. And I had this picture of, he's going to be that ADHD kiddo if this stress stays stuck on in him. And fortunately, I know what I know, and been at that time working with kids for a dozen years, so I could feel that pattern, sense that pattern, and do something about it now. But even if I hadn't been working with kids for a dozen years at that point, I do feel my dad gut would have told me that same thing. So if your mom gut, if your dad gut is telling you something feels off, I want you to be able to listen to it. Because here's the deal. It's not like colic causes ADHD. It's not like reflux turns into sensory issues, or that constipation means that they're going to have digestive troubles their whole life, or an ear infection as a kid means chronic immune challenges the rest of their life. But what happens is, if that stress doesn't get cleared out, then it's a lot more likely those things can occur down the road. So as a parent, I want you to feel empowered and know that there is hope, there are answers. I'd love for you to check out our website. We have different blogs, different videos. If this does resonate with you, if you do feel there's something more that you want to explore, please check it out. Leave a comment. Maybe if this does resonate, tell us why. And ultimately, know that there are ways to get help. In our office, we use what are called the Insight technology. It's scans that measure your child's nervous system so we can see, is that state of stress stuck in their body? Or did they move through it okay? And maybe they are doing well. Regardless, we can help you know if there's more going on and give you a solution. Because of working with underlying neurology, we're looking at more than just the symptom. We're looking at if there's stress stuck on, what can we do to clear it out? Start to activate the calming, the resting, the digesting, the healing side of the nervous system that allows your kiddo to feel grounded in their body, allows them to make social and emotional connection, allows them to sit still and pay attention in class and behave in school. We activate a lot of times, it's called the vagus nerve. It's this brake pedal that allows that healing really to go deep and to happen. So I'd love to connect more. As I said, check out our other resources, reach out with a comment if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon.